Talkin Live Classics TV. We have all the classic movies and TV from the golden age of Hollywood 24/7, including Saturdays for your kids. You will be reliving the morning TV you grew up with. Also watch Talkin Live Classics TV anytime on our Roku channel.
Hello, everybody out there. We're glad you tuned in to this Talkin Live show. And we have a special guest here, Cody. And I forgot his last name.
Robinson.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's easy, you know. And it's hard for me to remember. When you get old, you can't remember where you've been. Notice Biden, he can't find his way around the block. I mean, that's the way I'm getting. That's why I don't say too much about. I don't want to make fun of Joe Biden because I'm getting old myself, and I don't want to be falling all over the place like him either. I don't want to make fun of him because he comes home to you, and when he messes up and forgets, I don't want to make fun of him. I don't like him, but I don't want to. I want to respect him enough to not make fun of him.
Yeah, I stay away from it. So
yeah, but we got this thing I'm working on here, and Mr. Robinson, he's gonna do some shows. I think we want him to. He wants to come in here, and maybe he just wants to create a show of his own, and let him come in and do some shows. He's an actor. He does a lot of stuff, production, directing, all kinds of stuff. He's been a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
And,
wrestler since I was 18. About a couple years ago, I stopped doing it full time. I got injured and been dealing with that, but just focused on that acting. So
yeah, I think you're a friend of Paul Lee too, right?
Yeah, sorta. I know of him, and just I can say one thing. When I was 18, when I first tried to break into the business, I tried to work for Paul Lee. I tried to do a handstand. I couldn't do a handstand. I couldn't work for the guy.
Well, you need to get with the beast and talk to him.
Yeah.
We got his own number. Call him up and bother him. Yeah, you know. Me and him got on the show. And he's told everybody, why don't he shut up?
Yeah.
Well, but he just nagged me on. He kept on talking. I kept on talking. And it kept on going.
Yeah.
But we had a great show together. And we're expecting a lot of other people to come on. And if I should disappear, which I hope I don't, you don't hear from me no more, I either died or I can't get here. No, I had a little problem with my health. I think the Lord's going to take care of me, watch over me. We don't live forever anyway, so I don't plan on nothing too much like I used to. When you get so old, you can't plan on nothing because you don't know when you don't never know when you're young. You ain't gonna. I had a stepson get killed, got shot in the heart, but he's at the wrong place with the wrong people. But I mean, we can shorten our days by doing things to abuse our body and doing things like that. And I've abused my body a lot, so and I can expect to. You know, my dad-in-law told me one time, the older I get, more pains I get, and I don't pay no attention to them no more. So
yeah, it's weird. You get used to just being in the pain, like doing sports and stuff. Had so many injuries over time. When I wake up and I'm not feeling bad, I was like, I'm not hurting today. You get used to it, like this body, you just keep going.
Yeah, and I had to have a CAT scan on my head, MRI, and I told them they wouldn't find nothing. They didn't. They're supposed to be in a brain in there, but they couldn't find it. No, really, they found it. They was looking for, and they did have a little tiny spot. I really think that I had a panic attack mixed with a nervous breakdown and a stroke at the same time. Well, a little bit. I hope I don't have another, but it's not my call. But I'm going to start taking care of myself more.
That's good. That's good.
Meat, and, red meat, and, just not eat all the time. And I know people eat sausage all the time.
Yeah, try to get you a workout in.
Yeah, and you know, mix up some potions and all that.
Yeah.
Now, Jenny Weaver said you can't have no sage in your house. That makes you a witch.
What? I put a lot of sage in my food.
Yeah, I think that they use that for spices, ain't it?
Yeah, that's what those sticks, those incense sticks you light and you wave around. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe in incense, burning incense.
Yeah.
If your house stinks.
Exactly.
Yeah. They are such things as people that practice witchcraft, but that's a you know, and this lady Jenny, she used to tell everybody that you know, you gotta be able to cast out devils, and which the Bible says that can happen, but you don't dance around and just dance around, jerk around to the music. That don't give you the power to cast out a devil. Prayer and fasting does. That's what Jesus said.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just see people so deceived and blinded to all this stuff. And I didn't mean to get off onto that. I was going to say, what would I do if I was president? And, you know, what would I do if I was president?
I'd like to know, what would you do?
Well, Cody, if I was a president, first, I'd finish the wall, okay? You know, and I'd have cameras all over the place, and I'd bring in the National Guard, and I'd get the National Guard to work with the Border Patrol, and they would work for the same thing that we're trying to do. And I would open a big old gate, and I would bring people in here, you know, wanting to be in a free country, and I'd make sure that they didn't have a criminal record or maybe a bazooka in the back of their car or something like that.
You just got to do it the right way, you know.
Or, you know, maybe a couple. I went over, now I'll tell you what I did for a company one time. I went down to Mexico. I went through customs with no passport, and I went down there and come back out. It's not hard to do. But it was a company that took me down there. That's the kind of reason I was going down there for electronics. Actually, it was Thomas Electronics. And I went down there to look at some products, which it was a bad deal. I wish I never went. I've been to Mexico quite a few times. I know how they operate. I know the things they do there. And then I have a lot of friends that tell me that. And but some people just think they're all starving to death. They're all naked, and they ain't got no place to go. And I'll tell you something. They do have, and in Brazil, I've been to Brazil, I've been to the Caribbean and all this place. There's a lot of people don't have a decent place to live. Now, down in Brazil, if you got 100 acres, you let some squatters come on that land and you let them stay there, within a month, you're going to have hundreds of them. And they use the bathroom. Their buildings are made out of like cardboard or
clay or something that's mud,
or pallets or sheets of plywood that they just gathered together and built their little shack. And I was in Puerto Rico. They have a place like that in Puerto Rico, San Juan. You don't want to go down in there, you won't come back out. You couldn't go up there, you won't come back out. I mean, I've been all over South America. I've been invited to Colombia. I didn't go to Colombia because the Puerto Rican guy told me they hate Americans over there, but that's not necessarily the truth. Because I have a lot of Colombian friends down in Miami, Cubans. And I got a friend I was telling you about earlier. He's a Biden fan, and I told him, "Are you crazy? After you come out of a country with a communist, all that communist crap going on, you mean to tell me that you stand for them?" Oh, we got into it, and he spoke to me since. If we run into one another, we hug one another's neck, you know, and we kiss one another on the cheek.
Yeah.
And then
Say your byes and
yeah,
go about your day.
I mean, that's a lot of the Spanish people. You got to understand the Spanish people. There's some good, great friends of mine in Spanish who will do anything I ask. And I appreciate them. They're hardworking people, but they ain't all hardworking people. There's a lot of them just try to bring drugs in this country. If I was president, I would take these guys that get caught with that fentanyl, and like you said, I'd make them take some of it.
Yeah, make them take it so they know how it feels.
Yeah.
You know?
Since you got all these pills, why don't you take a couple of them? If you don't, we're going to put you in prison. You're going to sit there in a hole for the rest of your life on bread and water.
Yeah.
And we might let you out when you get about the side of a clothesline.
Yeah, slip through a crack.
So you might be able to break out when you get through eating that bread and water.
Yeah,
by sliding through a crack.
Yeah.
These these cities like New York, they giving all this money away. And if I was president, I'd take the homeless, the ones that would work, okay? I would take all those houses they got holding for taxes or falling in, and I would give them money to remodel their house. And I'd make sure that that's what they did with the money. And then I would help them get a job and let them work and pay taxes, be a good citizen. Now, the ones that wanted to deal drugs and all that, make them take all the drugs. If they wanted to,
Yeah.
that would be the way I do it. I hate drugs. I used to smoke marijuana. I hate the way it made me feel. I done cocaine once. I hate that. My drug was alcohol. And these people that are going hungry here now, these people wouldn't be coming across the border if they didn't prove that who they were and all that. But see, we got all these runaways that just come across the border. We don't know who they are. No, see, what was it? September 11th. Those guys were going to school in our country. I think they were in college or something here or something. And they blew up the towers. They tried to kill the president. They would have killed the president if they would have been able to. But we had some real Americans on that plane that gave their life for America. And you people out there that, now that's another thing. Let me get into this. Now, Bernie Sanders would be kicked out. He's a communist, right? This is a free country. So why we got these communists in our government? I get rid of. He loves Cuba and communists so much. I take him over and drop him off in Cuba, okay? And the lady from Somalia, what's her name? What's her name? I can't think of that. With the squad, they're different countries. They're from different countries. I think her name. But I would take them and drop them off in Somalia and Puerto Rico. AOC, I take her, put her back in Puerto Rico, and let her take care of Puerto Rico. See, Puerto Rico has a lot of poor people down there. See, I've been down there. I've been all over Puerto Rico. I've seen Puerto Rico. You got some hard working. I had my ex-wife had a cousin down there. Man, he was a great guy. He worked for General Electric. Great guy. There's some great people down there, Puerto Rico. But I ain't getting into my wife. We ain't gonna talk about that. Last time I was in the this Puerto Rican comedian was up there. He asked me, "What you got against Puerto Ricans?" I said, "I ain't got nothing against Puerto Rican. Just that Puerto Rican wife of mine." But anyway, this back in the day, I was over there with my Colombian friends. We was comedy catch sport we was at. That's back when I drank, and which ain't gonna ever happen no more. I'd rather be dead than drink. I'd be like I used to be. But you know, I'd take all these people that's up there in Congress, and the Senate, if they believed in communism and they believed in all this stuff, I would make sure they got kicked out of office and put back where they come from and let them, you know, make their country great. They're here now to straighten their country out. When they left the country, it's Donald Trump, so the crap hole. They left that country. Why didn't they stay in Somalia and all them places and straighten out their country? Why they come over here and try to straighten us Americans out?
Just trying to feel better about this. If they can help us, then.
And you got AOC, Herman Sanders, I heard, you know, wrote up the Green New Deal. What's the great deal about Green New Deal? When the windmills stop turning and the sun stops shining and it comes a hailstorm and beats all the panels and buses them all, and then they got to replace them. There's a place down in Hawaii right now offering me 16,000 panels to recycle.
Yeah.
In Hawaii because there's a storm coming. Now, what's those people doing down there in Hawaii for electricity? With all those busted solar panels, they can't get no sun on them. And so what'd they do? Are they sitting without electricity? What's going on?
I don't know.
And then, if I was president, I'd make the oil companies be more environmental. But see, the battery companies are not. Do you know any EV manufacturer? And I've sent Elon Musk an email. I've got his email. Hadn't heard back. And do you know any plan that the government or the manufacturers come up with to take care of all of those batteries? I mean, you got an electric car.
Yeah.
And the battery goes bad. It costs you $10,000 or more to replace it. Okay. And then the car dealer is going to say, well, you know, we got to dispose of this battery. It costs you $500. I'm just guessing what it costs. But I figure about $500 because they weigh probably a couple 1,000 pounds. I mean, we took them apart in the recycling business, so I know what they are. So they ain't nobody AOC can't come and tell me about a battery. Oh, I love to talk to her about the batteries. I love to talk to all of them up there that going to save the world. And I said at the last show, Obama, he bought him a house on the beach. Well, if the oceans are melting, the glaciers are melting, what's he going to do? I mean, he's going to get underwater for long. Yeah. Now, why would he buy a $10 billion home on the beach? But anyway, if I was president, these companies that manufacture these, China especially, I'll tell you something about China. You know, these vapor cigarette batteries, they made them so sorry they won't even take them, they won't buy them back. See, China won't buy lithium-ion batteries back. But if they made them so cheap, they don't even take them back. That's the truth. So they want to charge you to recycle. Because they can't recover them. These batteries that you charge up, like your phone, different things you have, which I go along with, these backup batteries for, solar panels, or something you charge up. It's got let the man, I go for that. But I don't go for shutting down all the oil and all that. But what I would do is give the oil companies a lease. And I would let them drill, and they would have to put so much money back every year for the environment. And I would go with the car dealers and I'd say, you come up with something. You come up with a Cadillac converter. Now you can come up with something that will take all these emissions. I would tell them that if I was president. But first thing I'd do, I'd get everybody out of here that don't belong here. Like Donald Trump said. And I'm not trying to mock Donald Trump. Sometimes he makes me mad. He gets too arrogant. You got to humble yourself down every once in a while. I mean, you don't want to make people make you think that you're better than they are. I mean, because you're not. I mean,
Yeah.
so,
Nobody's better than the guy next to him.
That's why a lot of people don't like him. And then Washington don't like him because they can't tell him what to do. And if I was president, you couldn't tell me what to do. My ex-wife couldn't, and they sure couldn't. I'll tell you what, it'd been better that I listened to her those sometimes. But I'm just saying, you know, there's so many things that this country could do. Oh, I'd put all the statues back up. Yeah, I would put all the statues back up, and you know, Grant, Lee, whoever was in the Civil War or in the Confederate War. I'd even build another statue of Martin Luther King if we wanted to. I think he was a good man. You know, as far as I heard a lot of bad things about him, but what he did was good. So you got to give him credit for that. See, nobody gives nobody credit for what they did. Like Abraham Lincoln, he freed all the slaves, and they want to destroy his statue. I mean, he don't care. He's dead anyway, so he don't really care. But people in this country do care for their history. And it don't offend me to see somebody's statue that I don't like. I just turn my head.
Yep, go about your day.
It don't
business.
offend me. You know, it offend me somebody try to pull that racist crap on me or talk about somebody because of race or color. I don't like to hear that. You don't know them, so how can you talk about them? You don't know, and you know, and Jesus Christ couldn't make everybody love one another, and so Joe Biden and all of them is going to start all this bull crap to get rid of the hate. You can't get rid of hate. It's something that's in the heart, and the person has to get rid of the hate. That's inside of you. Yes, you have to get rid of it yourself. You can't do that. And I'm not judging because the word is what says it, not me. And but I'll respect you as long as you respect me.
That's what it's about.
And I don't respect you trying to push it off on little kids, and you're not a good example to our young generation. You're a bad example. And, you know, if they grow up to be what they are, like you, let them do it themselves. Don't promote it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you feel that we're prejudiced here, well, I'm sorry. We just believe in what's right and wrong. And if you think that you got to be that way, gather all you people up, go get you an island somewhere. Y'all just move on and have all the good times you want. But don't bring it on our kids and don't try to force it on the innocent children. Don't have, you know, and if I was president, I would put a stop to that. I get rid of these sorry teachers and I put the Bible back in the schools. You know, and if they didn't like the Bible, it's a choice. A kid comes in and you try to teach them right and wrong. That's why we got so much crime, because the schools don't teach them that there's a price to pay for doing wrong. Even
most people do wrong and get away with it, and they get whatever they want.
You don't never get away with nothing. You just, it just prolongs. And it'll catch up with you. And like Kaufman, Lloyd Kaufman, I told him the reason our country was in the shape it is because it took the Bible out. And he agreed with me. I mean, because if you think you're going to if you're going to go down here like that immigrant beat up these cops, some immigrants, if they go and they beat them up, they arrest them and let them go. Why would they not go back and do it again?
Yeah.
I don't have to pay for it. I mean, you'll pay for it with God, but if you rob, there's a lot of people who rob a bank, get the money if they thought they'd get away with it. Mm-hmm. But they know they can go to prison for it. Of course, I don't know. Certain ones can. Maybe 100 could rob one and get away with it. But anyway, if I was president, I'd get rid of all the deadbeats that come over here. I would save all the good, hard-working immigrants for our country to make it a better place to live. God bless you.
Hey, do that last part again where you say, well, if I was president.
Well, if I was president, what'd I say? It has to,
the bad people out and the good people in.
Well, if I was president, I would make this country a better place to live, and I would take care of all the Americans that took care of America. Did that work?
Yeah.
But that ain't what I said. I forgot what I run off the mouth, and I say a lot before I even get to the end of it.
Say goodbye.
I done told them bye.
Well,
Oh. Okay. If I was president, this country would be a better place to live. I would get rid of all the deadbeats, and I would take care of my own country, my people, my freedom, my hope.
Thanks for joining us today. To watch this show again, be sure to visit TalkinLive.com. We now have Roku and Amazon Fire TV channels for you to watch from your home TV. Or find more of our recent shows on most any of your favorite social media platforms. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night, world. We will be talking live with you next time.
Well.